What I want, you've got, it makes it hard to handle. Like the flame that feeds a candle. The candle feeds the flame. Oh, yeah. But I got full stock of thoughts and dreams that scatter. But you pull them all together. And how I can't explain. Oh, yeah. Now you do, do. You make my dreams come true. Has God ever given you a dream? I was probably 20 years old, and no, maybe 23, 24. I was in my early 20s. And God gave me a dream that I was going to have an impact on the end of the age. And so I started studying everything that I could find on the topic. And believe me when I tell you, there are a lot of different opinions on the subject of how this is going to come to pass. And one of the things that has really arrested my thought process is that when the people who were studying the scriptures at Jesus's first coming, how wrong almost everybody was. And I that's been one of my driving forces. And so I have spent well over 40 years studying this topic on and off. And it's been a passion of mine. A lot of people kind of steer away from this. It's kind of uh, you're entering a dimension without sight or sound, the Twilight Zone type thing. But part of it for me is that God has spent more ink talking about this very short period of time than pretty much any other period of time in all of human history. And if God spent that much time talking about the end of the age, then it's important. And so, like I said, I've been studying this for a very long time. And I kept hitting obstacles. There are many places where in various denominations, if you don't understand end time events the way that they do, then you can't actually become a part of their denomination and teach and preach and function within them. And so door after door closed. And one of my biggest obstacles was getting my education. Now, I have to tell you, the thought of spending hundreds of $1,000s to get my education scared the living daylights out of me. We grew up extremely poor. I mean, when I say extremely poor, I'm saying that there were times we actually had to go into dumpsters to get something to eat that day. That's the kind of poor that I'm talking about. So the thought of spending tens, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, 100,000, um, just really scared me. And trying to trust God for something like that was stretching me immensely. And I kept rising up. I've been in ministry most of my life. Now, I'm not pretending that I was a pastor for all those years or anything of that nature. I was normally a Bible study leader, a small group leader, a children's ministry leader, drama leader, various places of service. I was a support person. Um, but finally, I was getting raised up at Summit Church to become an associate pastor. And the pastor said, Andrew, you've got to. We came to the conclusion. That's a whole other story. I've shared it earlier, so I'm not going to go into it here. But that I needed to finish my education. So God had been dealing with my heart throughout all those years to get over that fear and get it done. So I went. And the truth is, I'm a pretty good student. I scored pretty well. I got my Master of Divinity. I became a pastor for a short season. And then that fell apart. I've shared a little bit of that in one of my earlier videos as well. So that's a whole nother story. And I'm not actually going to go into that here. Um, but the truth of the matter is, God had given me a dream. And even though things fell apart, the dream persisted. And one day I felt God say, Andrew, you need to become involved with Kingdom Builders Academy and start going through the process of building things up, because what I told you when you were in your early 20s is going to come to pass. I had started becoming really obedient and so and really just seeking after God with all of my heart. And so part of my appeal to people is, if God has given you a dream in an earlier season, then whatever he's called you to obey, do. Because after I became obedient, the resources started coming in, the obstacles started to go. Um, I have narrated the audio version of the book that I am producing. It's in the final stages of formatting. I'm having a professional website that at this particular point very few people can get to. So I'm working out some of the mechanical bugs. Um, but the truth is, kind of like Joseph, what God had spoke to me as a young man is starting to come to pass. I am extremely grateful to him for that, because I blew it. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I messed up. But fortunately, God has a tendency of restoring people who've messed up. And if we will turn to him, the scriptures tell us that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, seek my face, then I will hear from heaven, and I will answer their prayers, and I will heal their land. And so that is the foundation upon which I'm standing. I'm not trying to pretend that it's been a straight line for me. It has been, I was not a Joseph. I felt like I had a Joseph dream. I did not handle it like Joseph at all. I came far, 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 far short of that. But my encouragement to people who are in a place to where you feel like that dream is dormant, seek God, cry out to him, because he can restore that dream and he can bring it to pass, because he is the King of Kings and he is the Lord of Lords. And there is nothing that is impossible with him. I wish you goodness and grace in the name of Jesus. Have a good day.